Hello everybody, my name is Disuko, and in this video I turned this Game Boy Advance into a modern Super Nintendo themed GBA with a controllable backlit screen, a clear shell, and even USB-C charging. So if you want to see the final product, stick around to the end while I show you how I made it. Alright, so quick little change of energy here. We are starting with the donor console. I got a pink Game Boy Advance right here, and I'm going to start out by just removing all of the screws from around the edge so I can get into the console and replace basically all the parts. So there we go. We got the motherboard exposed, and I'm removing the ribbon cable for the screen. And I'm going to move on, before I add anything to the motherboard, to cleaning off these button membranes. So I got some isopropyl alcohol and some Q-tips here, and I'm just going to clean it up around the outside, get 20 years of grime and gunk off of it, and also cleaning up the contact pads a little bit so that they can accentuate better and the buttons will be more reliable. Also doing that with the start and select membrane, which I'm going to keep stock. The original feel of the original membranes, it's just nice. And I'm also gonna quickly clean off some leftover solder flux off of the motherboard itself. And also stick some IPA in the power switch and turn it on and off really fast to clean out the inside of the switch and make sure that it is accurate. Alright, and next up we're going to check out some of the parts that I got. So first up we have this really cool clear shell from FunnyPlaying. It did come with some screws, but I'm going to use the original ones. And as you can see, it has a big cutout for this, which is the Laminated ITA TFT screen from FunnyPlaying. In the package, of course, we have the screen itself with the Super Nintendo logo on it. That's upside down, you idiot. And in this little baggie, we have wires and ribbon cables to connect it to the Game Boy. This ribbon is for the 40-pin model, which is the Game Boy that I have. So there we go. It's nice that it comes with both. And putting the screen into the shell, because it's laminated directly to the screen lens, we don't have to deal with any weird centering or anything. We can just connect to this bracket and drop it right into the shell, which is very nice. Oh, my bad. But yeah, so there we go. There it is in the shell. Very nice, just slots right on in. And here I am attaching the ribbon cable up to the screen's board and just getting that ready to connect to the motherboard. Right now is going to be a good chance for me to test out the touch sensor and make sure the screen is working. So I'm going to do that. There's a very large break right here. I'm sure I meant to edit this out. What are you doing, Disuko? Get it together. Okay, so for this, for the 40-pin Game Boy Advance, we're going to have to remove this little component right here that actually regulates the voltage that's supplied to the screen to make it more power efficient, but because we're using a backlit screen that'll use more power, we got to take that off. And here I am just connecting up the ribbon cable and turning it on just to test it out and make sure it still works. I'm putting in some AA batteries for now, although we're going to replace those with a USB-C rechargeable battery later, which is going to be pretty cool. And there we go. The screen works. Very nice. Very good to see and to test. And now I'm going to start soldering on our button controls. So starting off with just tinning up the connection points for the right and left bumpers and the select button. And connecting up the wires, just putting them on the solder, heating it up with my iron, and there we go. Pretty easy. I'm getting a lot more confident with it since I first started. Once you get some practice in, it's not too hard. little tug test to make sure they're all connected up well. And now I can move on to the buttons. So like I said in the intro of this video, these are Super Nintendo Entertainment System themed, but I'm going to start dropping in the buttons to the shell. And of course, not forgetting the light pipe. There I am putting on these side bumpers. I guess that kind of goes without saying. And not forgetting the start and select buttons, putting them right in there, and also putting on the pads that we cleaned up into their respective locations. Next up, we are going to solder the wires onto the motherboard. So starting with the select button, test pad right there, getting it nice and connected, making sure it's on there, and then also tinning up the left and right bumpers for brightness control. This was a pretty easy solder job, especially given the fact that there's no power wire to solder up like there is with some of the other backlit screen kits. This is very nice. And now just getting the ribbon cable all connected in there to test out the screen further, make sure all the buttons are working, and continue putting together the Game Boy Advance, making sure that the wires aren't overlapping any screw holes. So now we can put on our back shell onto the Game Boy and get everything screwed in again. I don't think I quite screwed in every screw here, just to test out to make sure it worked first. And there we go. Our buttons are working, although as I will soon figure out, I have one minor issue, and that is that the touch sensor was firing off randomly, and I had no idea what this was from. All of my solder points were fine, so I took it apart. I tried adhering it to the top of the shell with some Kapton tape, and eventually just decided to cut it off of the ribbon cable completely, because honestly the button controls just work fine on their own, and the touch controller's a little janky. And there we go, that fixed the problem. Nothing is firing randomly. And now I can put in the USB rechargeable battery kit, also from FunnyPlaying, which here it is, just a battery connected up to a USB-C board. I had to connect a little wire to it that was already in the box. And in the bottom, we have a heat sink, which is very important to make sure the battery doesn't overheat and explode. So there we go, I'm putting that right where it goes on the board, and also removing these battery contacts from the shell because we don't need them for the other side. This is a really nice kit, really easy to install, just like a regular set of batteries. It just slots right in there, and then doing some quick cable management to get the wires out of the way. And putting on the included battery cover, it's so easy. It just converts it right into a USB-C Game Boy without even having to do anything. And there we go. That works just fine. Adjusting the brightness still works fine. The battery supplies more than enough power to the screen to let it get to max brightness, which is really nice with this kit. It's a DSi screen, actually, which is kind of cool. And here I am playing some Mario. You can see some weird white lines on the screen. It's made worse in camera, but it was a little bit flickery and a little bit washed out, and I wasn't sure why until I found out that there's actually a hidden voltage controller right in here, which you basically just turn with a tiny screwdriver until you get it looking nice and normal with no weird lines. And the USB-C mod works just fine. Normally it will light up if you have it connected to power. And here I am comparing the ITA TFT laminated screen to my no solder IPS V2 kit on my other Game Boy Advance. And that's how I turned this old Game Boy into this. You enjoyed seeing me build this Game Boy. I certainly had a lot of fun building it, was able to skill up a little bit, and I will also have it listed for sale soon on disuko.gay/retro. So if you're interested in commissioning a Game Boy from me or buying this one, you can check that out at the link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I will see you all in the next one. Oh my god, I forgot to include the peel in the video. I'm so sorry. There it is. Wowee. Wow, that sure is satisfying. If you're listening to this, first of all, thank you for watching until the end. But also comment peel in the comments. So like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.